word to wise. Grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple lies. You can't see me, you Stevie. Wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. All right, today's video, we're going to be talking about Immortal Hulk, number 40 through 43 by Al Ewing, Joe Bennett, Alex Lins, Adam Gorman, Rachel Scott, and Roy Jose. And in this video, we're going to learn how the leader is going to go from being the most powerful version of the Hulk to becoming one of the most powerful entities in all of Marvel Comics. We're also going to talk about how the Hulk has become the target of a classic X-Men villain, and more importantly, the startling truth about the Hulk's new friend, Jackie McGee. We're going to talk about all that and more right now, but first, if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the video, I humbly ask that you Hulk smash that like button because it really helps the channel out. Now, let's talk about Immortal Hulk, number 40 through 43. Since Banner and Devil Hulk, who is now Worm Food, were dragged to the below place, Savage Hulk has been getting worked over something fierce back at Gamma Flight's Alpha Flight space station. But while all this has been going on, our long-lost friend, Dr. Lankowski, the Sasquatch, has been lying dead on a slab since Immortal Hulk number 5. And while Gamma Flight argue about what really happened in Georgeville, all of this is cut off when the Sasquatch returns. Only it's not Dr. Lankowski in the driver's seat. Doc Samson is the one piloting the big guy. This is big news because of any of the characters in this entire series, Doc Samson knows more about the leader's plan than anyone else, and since he was effectively dead and couldn't resurrect into his own body, he took over Dr. Lankowski's instead, a loophole in leader's control over resurrection for gamma mutates. But the real question is, if he couldn't get back into his body, who did? Doc Sasquatch is going to blow the whole lid off this thing and finally get everyone else up to speed so that they can finally go after the real threat. At least that is what they'd be doing if longtime government stooge and mutant hater Henry Peter Gyrick wasn't stepping in to take over the Gamma Flight operation as acting director. Since around the time this is all going on, not only had Captain Marvel stepped down from Alpha Flight, but Captain Marvel was also effectively battling it out in the Empire story arc because of all the Kree Skrull shenanigans, as well as dealing with some time travel shenanigans of her own. Someone had to step in and make the tough calls, and guess who won the pony? Gyrick. And right now, he's the one who gets to decide whether the Hulk lives or dies. Gyrick has Hulk in quite the getup. They're sapping his gamma energy on the regular, and they place him in shackles that morph and reshape to fit him no matter how his body changes in size, because in the past, that is one of the things that the Hulk always did. His body shifted and changed, and his muscle mass would also alter to fit his power levels at the time, his strength. The more angry Hulk got, the more empowered he became, the bigger he got, and the less angrier, the less powerful, and of course, he would shrink down as well. But that's the one thing Gyrick didn't count on when it came to the new status quo for the Hulk. Hulk doesn't shift in size anymore. His body disrupts and breaks down in a terrifying body horror style fashion. Something that, while Savage Hulk and Joe Fixit are still at odds over Banner being taken away because of the Savage Hulk's childhood trauma, Joe Fixit is smart enough to use this moment to his advantage, taking over the driver's seat and changing back into the human form of Joe Fixit, bursting from Savage Hulk's stomach as if he were some sort of super baby. Catching all of Gyrick's men off guard, Gyrick included, a naked Joe Fixit is able to get the upper hand and a weapon. And though he does re-up with Gamma Flight, Joe has no intention of working with them. They're bought and paid for as far as he's concerned, so he blasts the nearby windows of the space station and allows himself to be sucked out into the vacuum of space, transforming back into the Hulk to survive the fall. Now granted, he's still in his puny Hulk form since they had been sapping all of the gamma energy out of him, and he's still reeling from the workover he took from Gamma Flight in the first place. And even though he He's free of them, he just so happened to fall back to Earth at the worst possible time. Clobbering time. As the Thing is standing by to put pause on the Immortal One. You see, the Thing is there alongside the Fantastic Four to try and keep Hulk contained, having gotten word from Gamma Flight when he escaped. Thing, of course, has a bone to pick with the Hulk, seeing as how Hulk did crash the Thing's wedding day and damn near beat the Flintstones' vitamins out of him, and the beating was so bad that Ben was nearly left in a coma. This all goes back to Dan Slott's Fantastic Four number 12 if you're curious to see how that played out. Hulk and Thing go toe-to-toe for a while, but what brings the fight to a screeching halt is when Thing goes for a finishing punch on the puny Hulk, and Hulk does something unexpected. He curls up into a ball to try and protect himself. Ben realizes what's happening, but only too late. He's witnessing Hulk exhibit some behavior that he's not used to, almost childlike behavior. And it just so happens at this moment, Joe Fixit realizes what's going on as well and forces the change from puny Hulk to Joe Fixit. But the Thing, seeing what's going on, couldn't stop in time to not knock Joe into the middle of next week. But Joe, despite having his arms and legs broken from the impact, he lays into the Thing because effectively what Thing was doing was borderline superhero child abuse. Savage Hulk is once again a child. A giant super strong rage monster child, but a child nonetheless. He's not trying to hurt anyone. He's trying to protect himself, and everyone is out to get him. Thing, having one of the more reasonable moments he's ever had in life, decides to let Joe go, and like most superhero fights should go, they go grab some grub afterwards. Joe fills in Thing on everything, at least as much as he can. Thing wants to help out, but honestly, this isn't within the Thing's pay grade. It's actually well below his pay grade in all the wrong ways. The Thing isn't scared to die, but the thing that Joe realizes is that the last time the Thing was killed, he didn't go to hell, he went to heaven. He's not ready for this, and Joe knows it. And while Thing pontificates about how he truly learned the meaning of the story of Job, the biblical tale of a man who was tested by Satan to see how far a man could be pushed before he renounced God, Joe doesn't get the correlation. But it does make a lot of sense. Hulk is being tested by the leader. The leader is doing everything possible to break Banner and the Hulk, all in the name of the one below all. Is that a hint that the one above all has been quietly watching, waiting? Most likely. Maybe it'll show up sooner rather than later. Either way, it may have no choice to, seeing as the leader has a new trick up his sleeve. Last we saw him piloting Rick Jones, he was cut in half by Dr. McGowan's translocator. Now, he's decided to make two bodies become one, merging Rick's and Del Fry's bodies together and piloting them both to create a new gamma threat. Not only that, but he's also figured out how to siphon and distribute gamma from Hulk's body in the below plays and the world of the living. But something isn't right. It's not working exactly the way he believes it should. There should be a perfect loop of gamma cycling between the different realms and Hulk, but it's failing because something is missing, and Brian Banner knows exactly what it is. You see, Brian tried to warn the leader before that this was dangerous, and the reason why is because for all the leader's schemes, there was one thing he didn't think about or factor in: himself. He's the missing link. The leader thinks he's the only entity that's consumed Brian Banner's soul, but he's wrong. The one below all had done it long before, and that's created a vital link that it needed, and the one below all has snatched up the leader and begun using him the way the leader has been using gamma mutates, taking over his body and piloting the leader as his new vessel, the vessel of the one below all, unleashing this new threat who has now become even more powerful than they already were, and very likely we'll be seeing the Hulk go toe-to-toe with the leader in this new state sooner rather than later if he can deal with his problems with Gamma Flight. Speaking of that, if that weren't enough, Gyrick has already pushed Gamma Flight to get back out there and deal with the Hulk, using Creel's desertion, because Creel actually decided that when the space station window was blown out, he didn't didn't want to get sucked into space, so he realized he didn't want any part of this anymore, and he says he's not coming back until they fix those windows or get stronger ones, but that's neither here nor there. Point of the matter is, Gyrick is going to use Creel's desertion of Gamma Flight against the team and threaten Titania with Creel's arrest if they don't play ball. This is important because you have to remember that Titania and Creel are an item, and more importantly, they are married, if I remember correctly. Gyrick is even being ballsy enough that he's going after Doc Sasquatch, threatening to kill him or worse, keep him prisoner in Hulk's old cell. But Sasquatch Samson pulls a move that, for the first time in a long time, gives Gyrick a pause. He threatens to destroy the window in Gyrick's office, killing everyone. A move very similar to what Joe Fixit pulled to save his own skin earlier on. This is a huge move because if he did this, this would effectively kill everyone. Sasquatch might survive, but no one else probably would, including his own friends in Gamma Flight. This is something that leads to Gyrick making his men stand down and releasing Gamma Flight from further Hulk activity, and probably even likely calling off the warrant for Crusher Creel's arrest. Something that surprises everyone, and while the rest of the team think that Doc was bluffing, deep down, Doc wasn't bluffing. He knows what's on the other side. He knows what it means to die and live and die again. He knows what's waiting for all of them on the other side and how what's waiting over there is primed to come to Earth. And honestly, he feels that if he would have killed everyone in that room, despite the fact they would all hate him for it, he'd be doing them a favor. Gyrick letting the team go is not the end for Gyrick though. He's still in the Hulk hunting game, and he now has an entirely new team set up to do it. Technically, an old team, a team tailor-made to take down the Hulk in what is likely one of his greatest moments of weakness, the UFOs. Characters who made their first appearance back in Incredible Hulk number 254 back in 1980. The UFOs are a group of characters who Vector, aka Simon Utrecht, put together, a politician who wanted to copycat the process that gave the Fantastic Four their abilities. He hired a bunch of people to come together on a space flight to try and gain powers of their own after being bombarded by cosmic rays, just like the Fantastic Four. And ultimately what happened was the UFOs. They were bombarded by rays even more powerful than what the Fantastic Four encountered, leaving some of them looking more like the Thing and less like Mr. Fantastic. First and foremost among them being Vector, the leader of the group. But ultimately, his powers grant him the ability of telekinesis. Next up, that gives us Vapor, who has the ability to change her body into the form of any known gas. She mostly uses her power to turn into all types of lethal poisons. She's even been known to replicate the poisonous gases from other planets. Unfortunately, one of the caveats of her power is that she can only remain in a human form for very short periods of time. Her younger brother, X-Ray, aka Jimmy Darnell, was also there on the space flight, but in his case, he's been turned into a living energy field. This technically makes him invulnerable and effectively immune to being touched or harmed in any physical way. He's also able to unleash all kinds of different forms of radiation, using them as energy blasts, and as one would imagine, he can fly and turn invisible. One of the more interesting things about his abilities is that he can also emit negative gamma energy that can turn the Hulk back into Bruce Banner. And of course, last but not least, is Ironclad, aka Michael Steel, a man whose body has been permanently transformed into organic steel. This of course gives him superhuman strength and durability. He can also change his mass as well, making him as light as a feather or as heavy as a mountain. With Hulk now being in his puny Hulk form, these are the worst possible enemies for Hulk to encounter at this point in time. But we're not done here yet. I did say at the beginning of the video we were going to uncover a shocking secret about Jackie McGee. Dr. McGowan and Jackie McGee both went their separate ways from Shadow Base and Alpha Flight Base respectively since the leader struck and made things a little weird. Dr. McGowan sought out the old Shadow Base proxies and safe houses seeking more information. She couldn't walk away from this. Even though her gut told her to do so, she should have run. She wishes she would have grabbed as much much money as she could and started a new life. However, that's not in her, and she knows deep down she needs to get to the bottom of this and help the Hulk. While Jackie, well, her journalism days are numbered. The company she works for is restructuring in light of the Hulk and giant monster attack in Phoenix, nearly destroying and killing everyone who worked there in the first place. So they're moving towards the internet and getting away from paper media, meaning Jackie's job is effectively gone unless she wants to make BuzzFeed lists for a living, which she doesn't, so she quits. But the reason I'm bringing them up is because something very important has happened, and this is revealed why Al Ewing introduced Jackie McGee into the Hulk's universe in the first place. When Jackie returns to her apartment, she finds Dr. McGowan already there. She's made a huge breakthrough regarding Jackie. You see, since she found the shadow-based proxies, she's been tracking all known gamma mutates, and even finding one she never knew about before, and that is Jackie McGee. This stems back to Immortal Hulk number 38, when the Hulk unleashed that gamma explosion that leveled Georgeville. Jackie became infected with gamma and thus has become a gamma mutate, but not in the same way as Banner or the others. Jackie is scared because she thinks she will become some sort of monster like the Hulk, but the truth is that's not her mutation at all. She doesn't so much transform into a gamma monster so much as she can see the gamma monsters that lurk beyond the green door, the same monsters that she's seen floating all around Dr. McGowan in her own apartment. This is something that is incredibly huge because this character was literally introduced in the first issue of Immortal Hulk, and she had been bird dogging the Hulk to the point that she finally encountered him, and she has been by his side pretty much almost the entirety of this run. And you would think that at some point that if she was going to become a gamma mutate, probably would have been revealed a while back, but the truth of the matter is she's connected to the Hulk in so many different ways, because not only has she become a person whose interest in the Hulk was purely professional, not only has she become a confidant of the Hulk since then, but since Immortal Hulk number 1, we also got to remember when she was a teenager, her home was destroyed by the Hulk, and not only did he destroy her home, but her father basically died, not necessarily due to the attack, but because of how much pressure and stress he went through trying to rebuild their life in the wake of having everything that they owned being destroyed by the Hulk. And this is actually what attracted Jackie McGee to becoming obsessed with the Hulk. And it's kind of funny when you think about the fact that, yeah, she literally wanted to understand why the world seemingly made excuses for the Hulk's destruction when the world so easily treated her childhood falling apart and her depression and anger and losing pretty much everything that she loved because of the Hulk. She became fascinated with it, and now not only has she become a confidant of the Hulk, but now she's become a gamma mutate. This is incredibly crazy, and I'm 110 million% in for it. Things have gotten crazy, but they're about to get crazier. But don't worry, because in the next video we are going to learn how well the UFOs, a team tailor-made to take down a weakened Hulk, we're going to learn how well they're going to do when Hulk gets back up from another Hulk tailor-made to take on the UFOs. If you enjoyed this video, Hulk smash that like button and make sure to share this video all over the internet and with all your friends so they'll know how you leveled up your comic book big brain in regards to Immortal Hulk. Also, on your way out, make sure to hit that subscribe button and let me know what you think about Immortal Hulk number 40 through 43. Keep it plus ultra and sound off in the comments.